In this episode, I'm going to take you through my experience of attempting to transfer the data from my SmartThings version 2 hub to the Aeotec Hub using the new SmartThings Hub Replace feature. Now, spoiler alert, the hub transition came with a few hiccups, as you'll see in just a moment. If you're considering to use the Hub Replace feature, I believe that you will greatly benefit from watching this demonstration. You'll receive several significant takeaways that will help you decide whether purchasing a hub to transfer your data makes sense. Before we get into the live demonstration, allow me to explain my motivation for converting from a perfectly good SmartThings version 2 hub to the newer Aeotec V3 hub. And let me say in preface to my explanation that the Aeotec Hub and the SmartThings version 3 hub are essentially the same hardware. That is to say that the Aeotec Hub is just a rebranded version 3 SmartThings Hub. So my main motivation to convert to the Aeotec V3 hub is because the Aeotec Hub contains a thread radio, so it can perform as a Matter router. This is also true of the SmartThings version 3 hub. The version 2 hub, on the other hand, is not supplied with a thread radio. However, it is capable of performing as a Matter controller. So currently, I use my 4th generation Echo as my thread border router, which is a bit of an inconvenience because it requires me to pair Matter devices via the SmartThings app, and then, as a second step, I must generate a Matter code using the Alexa app to share the Matter device with my SmartThings hub. There are some other positive features about the Aeo hub that's worth talking about. The Aeotec Hub can be set up to use either Wi-Fi or Ethernet. The version 2 SmartThings Hub can only be set up with a wired connection, which I do not consider to be a major downside, as I consider Ethernet as a more reliable communication protocol. The Aeotec Hub has a slightly better range of about 30 more feet. Also, the Aeotec Hub is Zigbee 3.0 certified. However, you're still able to connect Zigbee 3.0 devices to the version 2 hub, but you're not able to connect them using a QR code. One additional difference between the V2 and the V3 hubs is that the version 2 SmartThings hub currently only supports 32 Zigbee devices, whereas the V3 and the Aeotec hubs support up to 64 Zigbee devices. As you start to build out your smart home, you can quickly run into the 32 device limit. There are also notable differences between the Aeotec version 3 hub and the older SmartThings version 2 hub, which may cause some to consider the version 2 hub to be the better hub. The Aeotec V3 hub has a slower processor by about 1/2 of the version 2 hub. The Aeotec Hub has a 500 MHz processor, while the V2 hub has a 1 GHz processor. There is also the issue of less random access memory, or RAM, in the V3 hub, which, as you'll see, presents an issue for me when trying to convert my SmartThings setup from the version 2 hub to the Aeotec Hub. The Aeotec Hub contains 256 megabytes of RAM, whereas the V2 hub has 512 megabytes of RAM. Finally, the Aeotec V3 hub doesn't have an integrated battery backup like the V2 hub has. Based on my research, the common consensus is that there are no significant speed differences between the SmartThings V2 hub and the Aeotec Hub, even though the Aeotec Hub has the lower specifications. The limited memory on the Aeotec Hub can present a problem, in my opinion, but there is a possible workaround that I'll discuss in just a moment. As far as the lack of battery backup for the Aeotec Hub, this is not a major concern for me, as I do have a whole house generator that engages in 12 seconds following a power outage. Also, I plan to purchase a small battery backup to compensate for the 12-second power loss. I mentioned a workaround for the RAM limit in the Aeotec Hub. Since SmartThings permits multiple hubs in the same location, a possible workaround is to split out my home security devices on the former V2 hub while running all other devices on the Aeotec Hub. I will still have the ability to view all of my devices within the SmartThings app, and because the SmartThings app is able to discern both hubs, I can perform cross-hub automations provided that the hubs are assigned to the same location. As an example, if a contact sensor installed on the version 2 hub is opened, I can use that device status change to trigger a light switch that is installed on the Aeotec Hub. Also, because there is an edge driver limit of 50 device drivers on any one single hub, by using 2 hubs, I can load the device drivers for the security devices to my V2 hub and load additional drivers to the Aeotec Hub. Essentially, I'll have the ability to double the number of device drivers that I may install for my setup. My decision to move from the V2 hub really comes down to the benefit of the Matter capability built into the Aeotec V3 hub. I do not currently view the lower specs of the Aeotec hub to be a major concern, particularly if I deploy both hubs in the same location. Now let me take you through my experience of transitioning my SmartThings setup from the SmartThings version 2 hub to the Aeotec hub. Okay, to begin with, you need to set up the Aeotec hub, and you see me unpacking it here. It comes with a power cord, and you can either connect this wirelessly or you can connect Ethernet. I went ahead and connected the Ethernet cord. You go into the SmartThings app and you look in there to add a new device and then select Aeotec. And then you add without the QR code. You just simply go down, you find Smart Home Hub. And once it discovers that, it should be, by the way, flashing red and green as I pointed there. It'll find the hub, and you click on that. And then it goes through a process of first asking you whether you have a connection type of Wi-Fi or Ethernet. And then once you establish that, it tells you to connect the cables, which I've already had connected. And then it asks you then to enter the serial code or serial number. And then I sped this section up. It downloads updates, and then following the downloading of those updates, it installs the updates to the new hub. Now, one thing I discovered is that, of course, you have to have a clean hub with no installed devices. For some reason, and I'm not sure if it happened in this installing process, but it installed some generic drivers on the hub, which I subsequently removed, and I'll show you that in a upcoming sequence here. Okay, once your device, the updates are installed, it gives you the success message, and you can change the room where the hub is. I have my other hub in miscellaneous, so I wanted to put both of them in the same room, and I renamed the device Aeotec Hub. And that's pretty much it for the setup process, so pretty painless, pretty simple. So next we'll be getting into the hub transfer process. If you go into your settings on the menu tab and scroll down, you see now that I have the current version of SmartThings that contains the hub replace feature. So I'm going to go ahead now and replace the hub. Fingers crossed everything goes well. So in devices, as you see, as before, I have both hubs connected. So the instructions tell you to go into the prior hub, and you go up to the top where you see the 3 dots, the ellipsis up there, click on that. And now, previously I did not have the hub replace option in here, so I'm going to select that. And it says you can replace your existing hub with a new hub when you replace the hub. So I'm going to say replace this hub. Oh, so this is interesting. Not enough memory in the Aeotec hub. Select another hub to be the replacement hub. So interesting. That's a problem. Not enough memory. So I'm going to take a screenshot of that, and we'll send it into the SmartThings community and see what they say about that. Okay, so I sent an email to the SmartThings community. The suggestion was to go in to the hub and delete any edge drivers that I wasn't using. So to do that, let's back out of here. You go to your hub, go to the ellipsis at the top, select driver, and go down through here. Now this will not let you delete any device, or any driver I should say, that is in use. Let's see if I can delete this one. I've deleted about 12 drivers altogether so far, and this one is currently in use. So that's how you can tell, if you're not sure, whether or not you can delete that driver. So now that I deleted the 12 drivers, I'm going to go ahead and try to do the hub replace again, see if I've got the memory to do so. So I'm going to select my current hub, the ellipsis at the top, replace hub, and select replace this hub. Again, I'm getting the same message, not enough memory. So what I'm going to do now is contact SmartThings support, and I've already sent an email to Aeotec to see if Aeotec is producing another hub that has additional memory, and I guess I'll report back once I get that information. All right, so what I did, I went into the Aeotec hub and I went into drivers. Oh, now driver's not even showing up in there. So before, I saw the word driver there and I opened it up and there was some installed drivers on here. So I'm not sure if that was part of the update whenever I connected the Aeotec hub, but at any rate, I removed those and I'm going to try to do the hub replace again. And I did also check the version on the Aeotec hub, and it's got the correct firmware version, as you can see here. And the app's, of course, up to date. So let's try the hub replace again. Go here, hub replace, see what happens. Yep, still coming up with the same error. So we've got an empty hub here with no devices installed, and I can show you here, you can see no connected devices. So if I go into the hub replace, and I'm going to show you here, there is an information button, and this basically says you have to make sure that the hub is online, which both hubs are online in the same location as the original hub, not connected to any devices, and of course it's not a SmartThings Wi-Fi or Samsung Connect Home device that I'm replacing. So everything should be in order. Apparently there's just not enough memory on the Aeotec hub to be able to replace my V2 SmartThings, my version 2 SmartThings hub. I've got messages to both Samsung support, and I also send a message to Aeotec asking them if they've got a remedy or if they intend to upgrade this hub with more memory in the future sometime. Okay, back again for another try. I got some direction from the Aeotec team. They looked into the hub and they said that the older SmartThings V2 hub is definitely using more memory than the V3 hub currently has. They told me that there were 51 unique drivers installed on the V2, and they definitely advised a cleanup that could be done to reduce the number of unique drivers. And they gave an example. They said remove any unused drivers as before. So I did go in, I removed an additional 5 to 6 drivers, and also I found 6 driver channels that I had installed. 2 of those were Aeotec channels that I was not using any drivers within those channels, so I went ahead and removed those 6 channels as well. And I also found that I had the old V-Edge Creator app. I had some devices using that, so I changed them to this updated V-Edge Creator, then eliminated that, because according to Aeotec, they advised if there's still not enough memory, they suggested removing the Community Virtual Edge device as it uses most memory in terms of resources, and that should give me enough space to successfully update the hub. So I did all that, and I rebooted both the Aeotec Hub and the V2 Hub. So I went in to Aeotec. There's no devices connected, but you also need to make sure that device doesn't show up in this list. If it does, so if you go into the Aeotec Hub, I took some snapshots of this screen because I didn't want to have to reboot the hub, but you click on the ellipsis, you'll come to this screen. If you see driver in this list, you'll likely have these additional drivers. I think these are stock drivers that were installed on both the Aeotec Hub and my old V2 Hub. So I eliminated those. So let's go in now and we'll attempt to do the hub replace now that I've eliminated those additional drivers and driver channels. I'll click on the hub, select hub replace, select replace this hub, and now it gives me the option to go ahead and replace it. So it's showing the original hub as Bud's home hub and replacement hub as the Aeotec Hub. Let's go ahead and hit next. Devices that aren't supported by the replacement hub will be deleted. Once the hub replacement starts, you won't be able to cancel it. So, okay, there's a lot of devices on here. Let's try the replace. Here we go. So it's showing the transferring of devices, transferring 94 of 93 devices, which is good. I have a total of 94 devices. After replacement, it'll take some time until the transferred devices are ready to use. If they don't reconnect in 20 minutes, try removing the battery and putting it back. About 20 seconds remaining. Here it's showing progress down at the bottom. Couldn't transfer the devices below because something went wrong with the server. Try resetting the devices, then manually add them to the new hub. Well, it's not showing any devices in there. So at this point, let me give you a summation of this process as I understand it. As you know, I've reduced drivers to the utmost minimum, and I'm still unsuccessful with the transfer. I was a bit panicked at this point because I was halfway through the transfer process and I was unaware whether or not I had a good system or a full system on either hub. You're going to see me fiddle around here a little bit trying to ascertain the damage, so I'll just let that play in the background as I give you my summation of this hub replace feature. It appears that most of the devices were still on the main hub. I did have one device transferred that was a third reality nightlight. It transferred to the Aeotec Hub. What I ended up doing is I went ahead and deleted that device off the Aeotec Hub, and I completely did a factory reset on that hub. And subsequent to doing that, I rebooted both hubs and I tried the hub replace again, the process, and I kept continually coming up with the errors that the Aeotec Hub did not have enough memory. So at this point, I am still awaiting to hear back from the SmartThings support staff. I've been working with a gentleman there, and he's asked a lot of questions. If he comes up with some sort of fix that makes this more reliable, then, I mean, either way, I'll likely do some sort of follow-up here so that if I have anything worthwhile, I can share it with the community. So my current belief as a summary is that the hub replace feature is not ready for prime time, particularly if you have 100+ devices. Aeotec, I talked with a gentleman there. He was extremely helpful. He maintains that he personally tried the Hub Replace feature and was able to successfully complete it. Now, he said in his system he had, I believe, 42 devices, so about half the size of the system that I have, and he had far less drivers than I had. So the moral of the story is, if you want to replace your hub and you have a lot less devices, I would say probably less than 50 devices, and you have a minimal number of drivers and driver channels installed, then you're probably likely to be successful, although I won't guarantee that based on my experiences. If you have 100 plus devices on your system with 39 edge drivers and 13 driver channels, which I think I've got that down to the bare minimum, then the likelihood of you being able to use the Hub Replace feature is somewhat minimal. So hopefully you all found this helpful. If you did find this helpful, if you would give the video a thumbs up, that really helps my channel, and I would really appreciate it. And then I'll get back to you with any updates that I find that are relevant. And until then, stay smart and stay connected.